So you find me going through your responses to a blog I posted recently. Mayo and I had done a code of conduct blog for cinemas about things that you shouldn't do in cinemas. And I've been out on a book tour and a number of people had said, look, well, shouldn't you put together a list of things you should do? You know, be positive, accentuate the positive. And so I asked for your suggestions. There'd be loads of them. Here are just a few of your suggestions for a secondary code of conduct, things that you should do in the cinemas. I love this, from Adam. Always go into a film optimistically and with an open mind, even if it's Transformers 3, the extended director's cut in 3D. This is particularly true for film critics. You have to go into everything with an open mind, even if it's the new Michael Bay movie, even if it's the new Guy Ritchie film. I mean, who knew that Guy Ritchie was going to make a film as good as Sherlock Holmes? You have to have an open mind. If you go in without an open mind, you might as well stop. This from Seven Balloons. Do clap at the end if it was a good film. I always enjoy that. It makes me feel I've stepped back in time and shared a collective experience. Of course, when King's Speech was in cinemas, people were clapping at the end, and there was a lot of people saying, well, why is that happening? Why is it happening with King's Speech? One answer was, well, it's an older type of patron going to see the King's Speech, the kind that would have stood for the national anthem. I disagree. I think the film was just hitting a collective nerve, and I love the idea of applauding at the end of a really good film. Not so crazy about standing for the national anthem. This from Chronax. 2 suggestions. 1, become a member of a good cinema, art house or multiplex as you please. Because it's not that art house is good, multiplex is bad. It's that there are good cinemas and bad cinemas. And have lengthy debates with your friends, especially about films like Inception and Lost Highway that mess with your head. One of the things I always loved about film is going to see a film and afterwards going for a drink and talking about it. In fact, the pack of us, me, Nigel Floyd, Kim Newman, Alan Jones, always used to go and see screenings, then pile out onto Dean Street and go to a pub called the Nellie Dean and argue the night away. This from Leglet. Do sit in the middle of the row rather than right next to the aisle. This is directed at me. Don't complain when people want to get past you. Obviously, this depends on where the aisle is placed in the cinema. If it's in the middle, then naturally you'll want to sit by it, but don't moan about people coming past. This is because, and I understand this, I have to sit on the last aisle seat on the left. I have to do aisle seats. I don't do trap seating. But the point, which is very well raised, is if you're going to do that, don't moan when people have to get past you. Some more of your suggestions for positive code of conduct commandments. This from Gazowski. Do check the BBFC website before watching a film, so you know what you and Junior are in for, and therefore have no cause to act morally outraged that the latest 12A certificate film isn't suitable for your 4-year-old. I've said this once, I've said it 100 times. The BBFC website is great. The BBFC app is great. We are lucky enough to live in a country in which our classifiers do a pretty good job of explaining what is and isn't in a movie. Check out the BBFC site, it's really good. These two fit together as a nice pair. This from Joe Mayers. Say thank you to the people who sweep up and bag the discarded food and drink containers. It can't be a pleasant job, absolutely not. And if you've ever spoken to a cinema usher, they'll tell you that the reason they're not able to properly man screenings is they're too busy clearing up after people have left all their popcorn behind. And this, stay till the end of the credits if you really enjoyed the film. It's a mark of respect, and sometimes you get rewarded with a little extra vignette. Which leads on to this comment from Brian in the New Forest about staying for the credits. Always check out the music credits. There might be something missing from your music collection. Unfortunately, there's no law requiring everyone to own X's cover of Breathless. There ought to be. Yes, there ought to be. More love for the cinema staff here. This from 21CWH04. Not a catchy moniker. Do thank the staff who hold the doors open for you after a screening. I'm sick of people ignoring them. I always thank them and they look pleasantly surprised that I do so. I think I already thanked about 14 staff members so far at the LFF alone. I agree with that, absolutely. As I do with this from Zach. Do show emotion outwardly if you feel so compelled. A scream or a laugh from a stranger greatly contributes to the cinema experience. I said that somebody had sent in an email saying, well, why don't cinemas just hand out headphones so that you can plug yourself into the arm of the chair and you don't have to hear all the hubbub around you? But that's not the point. You go to cinema to share the experience of people screaming and laughing and crying and enjoying the movie. That's completely different, incidentally, to the experience of people talking on their mobile phones and rustling their popcorn bags. One of them is a communal cinema experience, the other is being a bloody nuisance. This from Davos74, and this is a bit of an alien one for me. Do respect the love seats. They're meant for two. And I read that comment out because it comes from Croatia. Hello, Croatia. I'm going to end with this from Dame Hedwig. This is a particularly lovely post and something I have actually talked about before. Like most people, our family likes to clap loudly when a movie title card appears. We are on a night out after all. But we also like to clap whenever the title of the film is spoken on screen. I've mentioned this before. There was a society of people that used to go to the movies and sit there until somebody said the title of the movie, at which point they would applaud and leave. From Dame Hedwig, it's just applauding. On this basis, we really enjoyed Hannah and Kick-Ass. Less so Inception, and Antichrist was a total washout. High hopes for Melancholia, though.